I feel like this video's been a long time coming, and it's been escalated to the point where I have people saying, "Oh Ryan, you sound really sad when you're talking about Anthem." Players wondering why I'm so negative about the game, a game that they love, and they think that I'm just ragging on it for views. And then there's players wondering why I'm still making content on Anthem in the first place and hoping that I jump ship. This video I wanted to talk about my honest impression of Anthem currently and the future, and also talk about big changes I suppose that would be coming to the channel. I did want to mention that I'm not stopping doing Anthem content. I don't want to lead people on thinking that that's what's going to be happening, but there's certainly changes that I want to make, and that's kind of what I want to talk about in this video, because the problems that I have making content about the game also ties in a lot to the problems with Anthem itself, at least in my perspective. I want to start on a positive note with the next patch that's coming next week. Whilst I understand why people thought I was being very negative about it, I am actually really excited to see what's going to be in there. I can't wait to see the patch notes and really talk about that and almost review them, which goes on to content which I'll talk about soon, and also just trying the changes out for myself, seeing what's in there. But there are two problems with the patch as a whole. The first is that we've known about this content for a long ass time. The caches and the legendary missions were announced the day before the original launch, which was the 22nd of Feb, basically a month ago. We've known about these changes for a month and we still haven't got them yet. So that's really simmered people's excitement. They've had a lot of time to get excited for these changes, but now they just want them in the game. It's different to them going, "Oh hey, we have a new stronghold, it comes out next week." It's more like, "Hey, we have this sort of rehashed content almost. You have to wait a month for it though." Of course, people aren't going to be massively excited. But also there's nothing major in this patch that's going to bring a lot of players back. But we kind of knew that March was going to be a very quiet month for BioWare whilst they got the game up to speed with where it should have been at launch really, and also added tiny pieces of content. But we're not here to talk about the patch, we're here to talk about the state of the game at the moment, and of course it's very disappointing. And that kind of goes on to this channel, right? Because there's a lot of people saying that I shouldn't cover Anthem if I don't want to. It sounds like I don't want to. It couldn't be further from the truth. I like covering Anthem videos, but I don't like the content that I'm necessarily making, and I want to sort of talk about why. For those that don't know, I cover on a YouTube channel called Overwatch Central, which makes daily videos, news, guides and stuff on the game Overwatch. It's a channel that has 330,000 subscribers plus, and it has been my full-time job for about 3 years in total, 3.5 years maybe. And I enjoy it a lot, but as you can imagine, making daily content on one game and one game only can be quite tiresome. And whilst I love making content for YouTube, I wanted to do something else a little bit. And I was really excited for Anthem. It was a game that we didn't have an awful lot of information on at the time, and so I felt it was a good time to sort of go over tweets and compile as much information about the game pre-launch as we possibly could. And then of course that gained traction, and it was really fun, and I had a lot of fun making that content because it was informative, people learned a lot from these videos, it was information that I was seeking out anyway, and I felt that I could make professional style videos that I was proud of in the end, whilst also giving it a bit of, personality and flair. But I know as soon as the game came out that I wanted to make different kinds of content, not just news. And that's the problem that I have with this channel currently. There's nothing to make videos on in the game legitimately. I'll show you some examples in a second, but it goes on to the point of content that I want to make and content that I don't want to make. I am okay with making daily videos. Ideally I don't want to because that's a lot of work, but every other day to cover news and do guides, and to an extent I did do that when the game launched. I found myself in this state where I was just doing news videos like I was doing before launch, taking dev tweets, but it kind of came into this point where I was taking literally anything and tried to put it into a video. And to an extent it worked. There were news videos that I really enjoyed and had fun making, but then I felt there were other videos that I was stretching it out, you know what I mean? I was trying to make interesting content when the content itself wasn't interesting. And that's where you can go down a deep dark hole as a YouTuber, right? Anthem's biggest problem is incentive. It's agency, it's the chase, it's something to do in the game to focus on. And this is where I want to talk about the comparison to Destiny 2 and The Division, specifically looking at two content creators that make content that you can make in those games that you just can't in Anthem. These are YouTubers that I look up to quite a lot. I really enjoy their content that they make. And it's not so much that I wanted to just take what they do and put it into Anthem as such, but I'm sat here watching videos on Destiny and The Division and going, I can't make that in this game, and I want to go over those examples now. The first area that I want to talk about is the ARPG min-maxing element of Anthem, and just how shallow and arbitrary they are. This is meant to have RPG elements, but they're so lackluster in a lot of different ways, it's hard to make content that's interesting on them. This is where we look at The Division 2, a game that has a lot of depth, and I really wanted to highlight Marco Styles as a really good content creator that if you are interested in The Division 2, you should definitely check him out. We'll take a look at his most popular videos first, not to go over, the stuff that's really successful for him, but more the videos that he is known for, the kind of content that has gained him such a positive reputation in the community. Answering key questions on why you need a second character in Division 1 but also Division 2. Talking about specific builds and guides. Highlighting important factors such as playing as a solo player, but mostly builds and really highlighting the element of depth that's in this game, and important factors that you need to know about such as blueprints and the like. But now going on to his newest content seeing as Division 2 has just come out, going over key ingredients such as accuracy and stability, the specializations, and just almost important PSAs saying do not sell purple gear mods, how to farm blueprints, how to craft and recalibrate, the best DPS talents in the game, talking about the DPS system as a whole. You have a good mix of videos there that you could talk about for 10 minutes plus and not feel that you're just waffling on, because the system that's put in place for the Division is stalwart. The RPG elements and the min-maxing stuff is there, and that's just not present at all in Anthem. You can make specific builds in the end for Anthem, but the issue is that it's very gimmicky. You can make like a lightning build for the Storm, highlight specific abilities, but the issue is GM2 Plus, it relies a lot on combos, on ultimates, on melee especially, because the system's changed quite drastically since launch. And no doubt it will change drastically again. But these are all videos talking about what's in the game. You don't see Marco Styles going, oh, big update, here's some news on this. He might do it now and again, but he's not known for being a Division 2 news channel. He's more known for his guides, his knowledge on the game, and bringing important topics to the forefront that you wouldn't have thought about. 123,000 people now know why you shouldn't sell purple gear mods. Something that people may have done beforehand for the Division. Do you have the same sort of systems in Anthem? No. You can't talk 12 minutes about the crafting system in that game. You can't really give tips on it because it's bare bones and incredibly dull. But that brings me on to the next problem that I have with Anthem. And to really look at that, we need to look at Datto, who is of course a well-known Destiny 2 content creator. Going over his most popular videos, you probably know what you expect to see. How to get Touch of Malice, how to get the Ace of Spades, how to get Whispers of the Worm, how to get specific things in the game that require you to do X and Y. This is player agency at its core. How to do X? Well, you need to do Y and Z. You have to hit parameters, you need to jump through hoops, and you get rewarded with some pretty neat loot at the end of it. Let's take that comparison to Anthem. How do you get the Divine Vengeance weapon? Well, you just keep grinding out content until you get it. I mentioned builds before. I wanted to run the triple dash in reload stuff for the Interceptor for quite some time, but that requires the component Elusive Talisman, which after a good 20 hours of playing the Interceptor, it hasn't dropped. Even from legendary contracts that guarantee a masterwork component. There's no way in the game for me to specifically focus on getting weapons, abilities, or components for my build. I just need to hope that I get them. And it's so frustrating and tedious that it just makes me not want to chase for things that I'm actively trying to chase for. So let's say I give up on that dream on getting that component and want to do something else. Well, it requires me to still do the same content, the free play, the contracts, the strongholds. I could do it on different javelins, sure, but I'm doing the exact same content for different reasons, and that's what makes it really dull. What do I do if I want to min-max my Interceptor? Do the same content. What do I do if I want to gear up my Storm for the first time? Do the same content. What do I do if I want to grind reputations to get the new vinyls? Do the same content. How about the dailies and trying to earn coin? You do the same content. Comparing that to Division or Destiny 2, how do I get this specific weapon? Well, you gotta do this or that, which is very different to how do I get better gear? Well, you can do all sorts of different stuff so long as you're hitting your weeklies. Division 2, how to gear up? Well, you could do missions, bounties, control points, hunt for specific exotic weapons, do the strongholds. You're starting to see a difference there, right? I can't make fun content on this game because the game content just isn't fun. It's very repetitive, and there's no point doing anything else other than legendary contracts, free play, and strongholds, because there isn't anything else. But as I said, Divine Vengeance, how do you get it? You just keep grinding out the same content over and over and hope that you get lucky. Not to mention that if you get Ace of Spades in Destiny 2, you know how strong that weapon is. It's really strong for everyone. Whereas in Anthem, there's a chance that it could be God tier, but there's probably a higher chance that it's going to be trash tier. And that's just not fun either. You suddenly get the weapon that you want, and its stats have rolled horribly. And there's no way to recalibrate, there's no way to re-roll those inscriptions. It's better luck next time. And it comes as no surprise that people are just putting down the game because that element, that cycle of Anthem, is just boring. The game itself isn't boring. I could do the strongholds and legendary contracts over and over again, but I need more of a reason to do that. You have Division and Destiny having built-in systems to incentivize you to do certain things. In World of Warcraft, as an example, if you have a reputation you can grind for, you can do that by doing specific missions, quests, trucking away on doing that stuff, and the incentive there is to maybe get a mount when you're exalted or particular gear that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Same with farming professions or doing PvP and PvE. Doing different things yields you different rewards. But for Anthem, you will do the same stuff and you will be moving towards getting better gear, getting better stats, going for a specific build, grinding your reputations, now getting cosmetics at the end of strongholds. The only player agency that you have in the game is to do strongholds to get a masterwork ability at the end of it, or a contract to get components at the end of it. The daily, weekly, monthly system is incredibly basic. The challenge system is a bit of a mess and also very basic. The alliance system doesn't really work unless your friends are still playing, which a good portion of us they're not. And even if you do get some coin from it, the store in game also leaves a lot of people incredibly disappointed. You can't even make videos going over the new stuff in there that would be similar to, say, Zer's Bounty, or looking at the store in Fortnite highlighting the new stuff. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the content that I want to make on the game, I cannot make. Instead, the only thing that I can make on Anthem is just news video highlighting stuff that devs have said and finding out new information, just like we did before the launch of the game. It's like the game isn't really out yet, it's bizarre. It basically feels that the only content that you can make on the game is when the devs say something interesting and you make big news, big update. And I'm not attacking any other YouTubers that do that because I do it myself. It's fine if you want to do that as a content creator because people want to find out that information, that's fine. But that's not what I wanted to do when I started this channel, that's why I've been so frustrated. I've made too many videos talking about the state of the game as a whole and updates potentially, but not enough videos talking about the game itself and what's in there. Dato and Marco Styles don't make big update, big news videos highlighting what the devs have said. Maybe now and again they do it, but it's mostly to give their own impressions instead of just acting like a news channel. And that's the content that I don't want to do solely, but I'm kind of forced to with Anthem. But I'm still optimistic that Anthem can turn this around. The initial sales numbers that we've heard about are really promising. It sounds like EA are backing it, and no doubt BioWare and Anthem will still be here in a year's time with a game that will probably look completely different to the game that we're seeing now. Even the changes already have made the game look a lot different than it started out last month, and it's only been 1 month. So next week there might be a lot of videos that we can do, looking over specific things, what the Elysian caches are like, any other stuff that the community have said, but I also want to start including content in different games. Those games I'm not quite certain yet. A lot of people want me to do Division 2 stuff. I have some really cool videos sort of lined up that I want to do. It's just whether I do them or not at this point, but this isn't solely going to be an Anthem channel. This isn't Anthem Central. But I still like making content on that game, and I'm not going to make content on the Division 2 or Outer Worlds or Borderlands 3 just because my plan of making Anthem content has kind of fallen through. Because I'd be doing it for the wrong reasons, and I think that kind of attitude really shines on YouTube. It's almost my integrity on the line, you know. But it's more frustrating that I can't make the videos that I want to make on this game, and I'm forced to try and act like every update is a big update when it really isn't. I'm not going to sit and pretend that this next patch, from what we know already, it might be massive, but I'm not going to pretend that it's a huge patch when I firmly believe that it isn't. And that also means that when we do have huge patches and I let you know that it's not just me talking out of my ass. But yeah, in short, still going to do Anthem stuff. I'm going to try and do more Anthem content in the game. I'll see what sticks, I'll see what stuff I'm enjoying. I want to be better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.